Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and especially Tyree. Thank you, Tyree. Tyree, this was one of those presentations that take time, and I don't know how many times you practice this in terms of all of the information, but it certainly needed the 20 minutes that you took. So I appreciate the fact that you went ahead and just delved into that and did that. The things I saw really nicely done, obviously very great visuals. Those are things provided by Toastmasters International, so they're nice and clean and crisp, and they say exactly what you did. You worked with the visual that you were looking at very nicely. Couldn't really, wasn't like you had your eyes glued to that, so very nicely done. Your speaking rate is so nice. You have variety in the tone that you use. You use it to accent words when you wanted it. You use pauses. So the vocal part of this presentation was nicely done. It wasn't one of those things that I think we felt like, and you kind of realize that the tone is so monotone that you're falling asleep and you can't really pay attention. And I think that was very well done. You connected with the audience via personal stories. You've used us in the audience as examples several times during the meeting or during your presentation, and I think that brings us all in, especially when you're mentioning me or whoever it is. They say, oh yeah, it's very nicely done. Two things that I think possibly to improve upon. It would have been interesting, I think, to maybe see a visual that was not just words, that was something more picture, if it applied. The other thing was that you pretty much stood right here and didn't move. So it was, you moved this way, but your feet were planted here where I think you have the opportunity to come over here and move around a little bit to the space, and might have added a little bit more to it in that sense. Also, too, part of the time that was taken because you used those examples, maybe understanding, okay, it looks like I'm running out of time. I need to cut that example down to just a line instead of a longer story. Could have possibly helped the timing a little bit. And now I'll open it up to the group. Any comments? Allison.
I love this speech. As you know, I am a leader for my business, and I'm ultimately responsible for every decision, every person, every firing, every hiring, every result. And I learned a lot that are things that I do but are good reminders, and you model this so well that I really hear you. I think when you make a point that says that you are your model and you do it, that really strengthens the speech. The structure, I got it from the structure. It was so well absorbable, so easily absorbable. And it's intelligent content based on experience, so that really, it was something I could use. And I rarely hear that from people who are very elevated leaders, so thank you. And I'm not going to go on and on. I just want to say also, you specifically gave examples, which is something we tend not to do so much in here because I don't hear it. But that's where you get it. It's a marketing 101. If you're going to say do this principle, you got to say here's an example. And I love how you did that, the climbing the hill, like we all did that. And then what I would like better, a checklist on what are some of the tools that you can give your team to support them, or how do you solve these issues if you have, people who are not participating or whatever.
Great. Steve.
Tyree, you brought us all in. On a personal level, you brought me into it based on my new position with the trio, and I appreciated that, and you're my mentor on it, so that's going to be helpful. One of the things I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do the same presentation but make your own slides. Because what I've noticed with the Toastmaster ones, they're real crisp, but there's a lot of words.
Yeah.
And you could get your message out with a couple of graphics or images, and that would put more of Tyree into it, and you're the one that makes the presentation good. So, anyway.
Write that down.
I did.
Yeah.
Justin.
I love your presentation.
the one thing I don't think I did here is, as a coach, as a leader, you're not only leading and coaching your folks, you're also learning from them as well. And every time, I've been a coach for over 10 years, of little kids, big kids. Every year I'm looking at things, items, events, situations where I can learn and get better, because that means they get better too. So.
Thanks.
Thank you. And I'm going to return control to our Toastmaster, return the meeting, not control.